Howdy, and welcome to episode 4, where we are still building a chat app with Socket.io and jQuery. In or did I say episode 4? I totally meant 6. In 6, we're going to make the server. We're gonna get into Socket.io, and that means we're gonna have to install Node.js, which I'm gonna show you where to find it, but I'm not gonna do it. You're going to use this thing called an npm. It's there's not much to it, but when someone says npm, um, it's supposed to be Node Package Manager, but I guess npm was already taken, so it stands for nothing at all. It's just called an npm, but it's a Node's package management system. Okay, and we're going to use Socket.io. We're going to have to set up a server, which is going to be, we've been working on a folder that's all for the front end. We have to have a server for a whole new folder for the back end. But first things first, let's look at Node.js. So here we are at nodejs.org. Download it. You got Mac, you got this. It goes by pretty quick. It's hard to get wrong. If I figured it out, anybody can. When you do that, you're also going to get something called npm. Just let it happen. Just let it happen. All right. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to use that. Well, in a second, because first, I'm going to close this. I've got to show this to you anymore. This is what I'm going to show you coming up in a minute. So, backing out, make directory chatvatar server, like that. And that's our new directory. And I'm going to change into that. And here we are. And I'm going to create a file. And it's going to be index.js. In our server, there is no HTML. There is no CSS. It's all about code that talks to the back end. There's nothing no end user is ever going to lay eyes on the things we're creating. Okay. Oh, hit enter. Now, I'm going to open Atom. This is our, do I need this? I'm going to close it. That was for our front end. Let's open Atom. So there's that index.js file we created. But where we're really going to start, I want to have this open at the same time, because I'm gonna say npm install. Remember that npm thing? If I say npm install, it's going to turn this thing not into a server, but it's going to give it a bunch of files. Enter. Let's see if we watch them actually pop up here. That was not what I wanted to see at all. I really thought I would see more. Oh, npm init-y. I still didn't do it. npm init-y. Install. There is something npm install, but we're initializing this. And okay, see this thing package JSON showed up, and it's showing us to right here. But I'm going to open it so we can see it over here. These are this is about the server we're about to make. We can add stuff to this, and that's really what I want to get to. I'm trying to get there as fast as I can, but I'm stumbling over my words along the way. Because all of our dependencies we need, any technologies we need, we can add to this. And once we add to it, we can pull them into our program. So here's what I want to do is I want to say npm install socket.io And actually, before I get there, I want to show you this that I have right here. This is the site this is the npm site for socket.io, and it gives you instructions, and it has different situations. We're basically doing this one here. I'll just even copy it. Command C. This dash dash save, I might have forgot that. That is a very important part. Command V. Dash dash save, because without that dash dash save, it doesn't add it to this. You're probably going to see this magically transform right before your eyes. It's going to include in here in the dependencies. It's going to include socket.io. I feel like it's not done yet. Feel like it's not. Are you done? It's not. It's not. I don't know what it's doing, but it's not. There's another thing we're going to install in a few minutes, but I'm going to wait till you appreciate it till you see what it is. Okay, there it goes. All right, dependencies, socket.io. So this is the only dependency we have. All this other stuff, I guess main is our file, but version 1.0.0. I never touch this stuff, but this I do touch. And you know what I could have done? I could have typed this in here, and then I could have typed in npm install like I did right here, and it would have, I spelled it wrong, it would have gone through and installed all my dependencies. When that happens, if you clone something off of GitHub, you'll clone this file. You won't install all these until you type in npm install. So you've taken this file and it looks at the dependencies and it installs all the dependencies. Sometimes you have a list of 20 dependencies you want. Okay, so that's this file is called package.json. Okay, I think I'm ready to start write some code. One line will create a server. One line. I'm going to say let client equal require, and we're going to require socket.io, and we're going to tell it to listen on a port 4200. So we are making a server. The server happens to be on the same computer that our browser is on, but this server, it could be across the world. It could be somewhere in the cloud. We don't even know where it's at. So, but think of it as out in the cloud. Before we get done with this series, I am going to deploy this to Heroku. We're going to deploy this out in the crowd, out to the. We're going to make it legit. Okay. I guess I don't need this. I can make this bigger. I want to have access to this though. I'm going to make this bigger. All right, come on. Okay, let client equal, basically, this is, I'm requiring socket.io, telling to listen there, and I'm putting that to a variable called client. Believe it or not, if I now go and I run, in Node, if you want to run a program, you run it, you type in Node, and I'm going to write an index.js. You can't tell, but it's just sitting there listening. It didn't tell you that. It's just sitting there. I could have told it to do something else. I could have said, hey, actually, you just type in log and hit tab, and it knows the concept of the log. Tell it you're listening. I am alive. And if we go back here, you see nothing changed. That's because we have to kill the server. You do that with a Control-C and then restart it. I am alive. So it listened. There is a server there, but we can't do anything to it because we haven't given it the code to do this. But did you see how I had to stop that and then restart it? You do that a lot, and it gets kind of old. So before we go any further, I'm going to do npm install -g. -g is instead of --save. This is not a dependency that this program is going to use. It's a tool for me to use right now. So it's a developer tool, not a tool for, not software that my server is going to use. So what Nodemon does, see it's Nodemon. Some people call it Nodemon. I call it Nodemon. So I've heard it Nodemon. I've heard Nodemon. I hope it's actually installing. What that does is it makes it so when I make changes here, it bloop, it updates. And if I break it here, it'll show me there. But when I fix it, bloop, it knows it's fixed. It's really, really cool. And it's really going slow. But I'm gonna wait for it because it's worth it. But I can't actually type here while we're waiting for that to install. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna set up the I'll just type it. Client.on. When you think of client, think of everybody that connects. This is the connections. So this is everybody. When it's listening to everybody, it's going to hear something. Anybody can give it a connection. So it's on connection. So this is the event. And when the connection happens, the data is the socket. The socket is the actual one connection. That is it. So this is the name of it. Right here is a function of what to do when someone connects. And right now, we're just going to have them say, is this really not doing anything? Did I do Control C? Oh, did I honestly not? -G. There it goes. Sorry, I wasted that time. But in here, right, what it's going to do when it hits a connection, and it's going to do this to one socket. So anybody can connect. It's listening to everything. So that's why I say client is everybody. It's listening, and when it hears a connection, here is the thing. This is the one connection. So this represents one person connecting, one computer connecting, and that socket or that connection, we're going to say, okay. We're going to, so socket.emit is, I'm going to emit as like send. I'm going to send this socket some data. And just like this is a listener, it's going to send, it's going to name a listener right here. And it's going to say, I don't know, say hi. It's listening for something called say hi. And when it does, it's going to be sent an object. And an object has a greeting, has like a key value pair here. I'll put it right above it. I'll say let obj equal, it's this, and it's we'll say it's a greeting because we're saying hi. Actually, let's say howdy because I like saying howdy. And here, instead of, I could have put this object straight in here, but now I'm just going to refer to it. OBJ. And we're going to set up another listener too. I don't have to because this is done. But there's one I want to, when this particular person, this one is sending in a message and now it's setting up a listener. It says eventually you're going to disconnect. And when that happens, so this one, it just sent data. Here it's going to do something. When this guy disconnects, it's going to do something. And actually when it disconnects, it receives some data. I don't necessarily need to use that data, but I'm going to write this like this. And then right now let's just say goodbye. And you know what? After that goodbye, I'm going to print this socket. If this socket is a thing, can I just log it? Can I print it to the screen? And by the way, when I'm printing it to the screen, it's not printing it to the console log before. We're not using the browser. It's going to print in here. It's going to print in this. Okay, so let's again start our server. And this is going to be the last time because now I'm going to, instead of saying node, I'm going to say node mon index.js, and it's going to start it. But it says, hey, something is wrong. We can't do this. Unexpected identifier obj. That's fine. No idea what's wrong with that. Oh, I totally do. This should be that. That. Where does this end? So, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. That was that. Okay, that needs to be this. Let's see it. And look, see, it started. It says, I'm alive. It's running, and now it's listening. It's waiting for someone to connect. So where we have to go now is we have to, this won't be complete until we make the connection, and that's when I'm going to end this video. We're already 16 minutes into it, but I just don't feel like it's a full story until I have something connected to it. So lo and behold, I do need the other Atom editor that I closed. I'm not going to use that. If I start typing in here, I gotta kill this. So what you do, you go over here and you make a new window, and we're going to cd chat return. Okay, and now I'm going to open this in a separate Atom window. All right. In our app.js, we want to tell it, we want to give it a string that's going to be the path to the URL. So I don't know if you know it, but the computer you're on right now, it has a web address. You could go into a browser. When I say a browser, I mean like this, and you can type in 127.0.0.1, and basically it brings you to itself, but you can't get there. Maybe you got to go HTTP, all that stuff. Oh, it says localhost 3. This 3000 is the port it gave me, but conveniently, that's the port we're going to use. In fact, I'm not even going to close this window. I'm going to leave that open because I'm going to make this default to port 3000. Anyway, so let's call this the server URL, and it's going to equal that thing I just said, HTTP 127.0.0.1. That's the address of this machine. And then if I say 4200, it says that port. It says go to this address, which happens to be right here, and knock on door 4200, because there's a bunch of ports it could go to, and it's going to 4200. And if you look over here in the server, we have it listening at that door. So we're going to come and knock on that door. If I put a 1 here, it wouldn't work. So I'm not going to do that. All right. Now I'm going to say, because when you make a connection, a lot of times it doesn't work. So you got to do a try catch. You say try to connect. If it doesn't, fail gracefully. So I'm going to say try, and this is the syntax for a try catch. When it catches the error. So it won't work without that, I don't think. So it's try to do what I put inside of here. Otherwise, do what I put inside of here. I'm going to start with the otherwise first. The catch. If you catch an error, just log, say, I don't know, connection failed. Blah, 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 blah. Hopefully we won't be seeing that. And I'm going to say let socket. And when you hear socket, think I have a connection, and it equals io.co connect, and we're going to give it this. Now you might be thinking, hey, I think I know Node, and I think I know JavaScript, and And I know we can't use jQuery back here. We're in the back end, but this is not JavaScript. This doesn't exist. That is exactly right. So let's see what happens if I try to do it. We are going to get an error now. Ooh, I just closed it after all. There is something I didn't tell you. Well, we know it's going to fail, but I can't. Before, when I ran it, I did this. Open. I did that. It looks like it's working. It says failed to load this app.js. Oh, there's a 0 there. I know why. My bad. I was dinking around and I actually I put a 0 right there. Okay. Refresh this. Connection failed. Okay. We knew it would, but I'm not going to quite tell you why yet, because it's funny that I'm looking right here that just came to here, because you know how we brought this in for jQuery earlier? We have to bring in one for sockets as well, a CDN, just so we can understand what this line right here means, because this is something that we have to bring in. So I foresaw this, and here's where socket CDNs. So we're going to copy. I'm just going to copy this first one. You just click copy, and I'm going to. Was this where I was at? In my index.html, I'm going to type in a script tag, and I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm just going to put src equals, and that thing I just copied, I'm putting in here. Now, I don't think it's going to, I think it's still going to fail, but differently. Did I save that? Yeah, I did. By the way, there's a little blue dot up here when it's not saved. Like if I do a change, like if I put a N, see this dot appeared? See, this is not saved. So now, and then just Command S saves it real quick. So I'm going back to here. I'm going back to here, and I'm just going to refresh it, and it's saying I can't connect to this. It's doing something weird. This is the error I wanted to. Connection refused. That's because the way I opened this, and I'm just going to close it. I opened it with that open thing. What else did I close? Dang it. I'm going to close this. Oh, this one I also opened that way. Let's refresh it. Didn't I open it that way? That other one had the exact error I wanted to see. I'm going to close that anyway. But we have to open our server in a new way now, because when you get a server served to you from like on the web, it's coming from a server. The way we have it now, it's not coming from a server. So we have to mimic that, and that's easy. You just light server. And now I started it as a server. Okay, Command Option I. We're in here. Remember, I want to see what the console's telling me. The console's not giving me any errors. That's good. But what do I expect it to give me? Oh, is socket emit say hi. So this listener, I'm going to hit Command C. This is coming from the server. It says, hey, someone connected. Emit this say hi thing. However, on this side, so now we're on the client side, we have to be able to hear that. So that's easy to do. We're getting close. If the socket doesn't equal undefined, because remember, it tried this. If it didn't work, socket doesn't mean anything. So if it doesn't equal undefined, then we are going to do a listener. We're going to say socket.on, and this on it's on this event. So here's the event it's listening for. You know what it's going to be? Say hi. When it says hi, it's it's gonna do this function. So I'm going to write a function here. It's going to take the data. This is it knows it's receiving something, and it's going to call that data. It could call it Bob. Sometimes I do. And with that data, it's going to do this to it. It's going to send that, take that data, and I happen to know it's called data.greeting. So I'm going to say log data.greeting. Okay, this might have worked well. So this right here, this is the light server. This right here, oh, well, this is good. You're like, what's all that crap? That's a very good question. Remember I told you I was going to have it print out the socket. So if we go over to, I said console log goodbye, and then log out the socket that just disconnected. So when we hit refresh, we disconnected. And so probably at the top of all this, it's going to say goodbye first. But all of this is what a socket is, and I don't want to have to do this again, so I'm going to make it not say this. But come on, I want to get to the top and find a goodbye at the top of all of this. Nope, still going. Oh, goodbye. It says goodbye right here. But let's, instead of saying socket, we're just, because that's a huge object, and that object has an ID, I'm just going to have it say goodbye socket ID. So I'll even have it make a sentence. Goodbye, R2D2. Okay. So I just made changes, and see, it restarted it because I just made changes. I love Notamon. And so that's running. Let's go to this. Socket is not defined at app.js11. I know why it's doing this. My catch, let's socket equal io.connect. Something is wrong with my syntax. I know what I disconnected now, and that was the socket.io npm, because the line I need is in here. Socket io on connection var server var io. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, you guys are in for a real treat. You're gonna watch me cheat. I'm gonna kill this. Control C. I'm gonna back out. CD dot dot. I'm dot dot again. ls. I made this before. So I'm going to do a really quick look at it, and that was in something called chat app. So I'm going to cd chat app, there it is, .app, and I'm going to open that, and I'm going to just copy that syntax straight from something else I wrote before. Oh, and it's right there. It's right there. Command C. Close it. That never happened, guys. That never happened. Okay, I just killed my, what I did was I just copied all of this, Command V. So here's my try io.connect server.url. I guess I have this here. I don't see what I could have done differently. Couldn't connect. Is that what I had? Okay, I need to restart my Notamon. But I need to go into the right folder. I don't want to be in this folder, do I? Dot dot. And where's my Notamon? could still have a problem. But I'm assuming, did I just have like, did I spell connect wrong? Var socket, well, I put let because that's the new hotness of how to do it. But we'll leave it there for just for right now. And we're going to go to here. We're going to go back to here. It says howdy. Oh my gosh, I am so happy. So let's just review again why it says howdy. When this opens up, it says, go knock on door 4200. Go to this path, go to this server, which happens to be on the same machine, but it could be in the cloud, and knock on door 4200 of that server. Meanwhile, back at the server, it says, here I am sitting at door 4200 listening to the door. Oh, a connection, someone connected. I'm going to, this person that connected, I'm going to make an object with a greeting key and a howdy value, and I'm going to emit that in a listener that I call say hi. I'm going to send him that object. So back over here on the client side, we have a listener. We said, when you hear someone say hi, just write out the object he sent us. We could have said write out the whole object, just to prove that that's where that came from. I changed that. By the way, when we disconnected, it said goodbye, and those are the IDs. Okay, so see, now it's saying the whole object. It's a greeting and a howdy. That's 90% of sockets, folks. And it took 31 and a half minutes. So I'm not going to. Usually I end by saving it to pushing it to GitHub, but that is for the server side. We have that set up. I mean, on the client side, we haven't set that up for the server side. And since we're 32 minutes into this, I don't want to spend any more time on it. But I will do that in the beginning of the next one. Just for right now, I'm just going to say thank you very much and goodbye. Oh, Happy New Year. It's January 1st, 2018.